It's actually, there's one that comes to mind immediately. Early on, when I was early on in Firm360, I was doing a sort of a check-in call, just a normal call with a partner at sort of a mid-size accounting firm, maybe like 15 people or so. Really, good book of business, but they were just really stretched thin. The partner, she wasn't complaining. She was just sort of overwhelmed, right? Which is pretty typical. We see that quite a bit. But she told me she was spending the first, I think, 2 hours or something like that of every Monday morning just figuring out what was billed, what was collecting, sort of managing her team, spreadsheets, emails, all the things, right? 2 hours every single week, right? Just to know kind of where they stood and just to get set for the week, right? Just to get set up for success. And what really struck me, and it's not to pick on this firm because it happens all over and all over business as well, but you just sort of get used to the inefficiency, right? You normalize the inefficiency, and she sort of just accepted it as sort of the cost of doing business, so to speak. And when we really got their workflows like really working, the time tracking, the billing, the client communication, the portal, all that stuff, she actually sent me a message a couple weeks later, and she was like, wow, Monday mornings are way different now. Well, it really is like one trait above everything else. They treat us like a partner in their outcome, not just like a vendor that they manage. So they come to the conversations that we have with them with real questions. It isn't just sort of a list of things that they want to know how it works, or just kind of very transactional things. They're asking, hey, we're trying to accomplish X, Y, and Z this quarter. How could we do this better, right? That's a different question than like, how does this button work, right? So they loop us in early when something's changing, when a new partner's joining, a shift in their service mix. They just acquired another firm, or they're planning to, right? What is the best way to combine this new business that we're buying with the existing business that we have? Do you have any recommendations, Firm360 staff, right? It's those types of questions and that type of partnership that really leads to the best outcomes. And it's also the customers, frankly, that push back. I've had that quite a lot in my career. It's the customers who say, wait, that doesn't make sense to me, or we've tried that and, give us something more, something better. Or they say, hey, this feature doesn't really work with how we want to operate, right? And all that feedback, that pushback, it really makes that relationship stronger, it makes the product better. Real customer success is proactive, it's anticipatory, it's understanding a firm's growth trajectory and asking, what are they going to need in 6 months from now that they don't even know that they need now, right? Because we're working with so many firms, so many customers, we know where their journey is going as they continue to use our product, as they grow in their own business, and it's up to us to be proactive and flag those things ahead of time. Everything's stress tested, right? It's game time. Busy season is where the software, the relationship, our own team's ability to show up, all of those things get stress tested. And what we try to do is to sort of get ahead of it before peak season starts. We are proactively reaching out, making sure that customers are ready, that their billing workflows are set up, that they understand how things work. That's especially true if a firm has joined us in sort of the end of Q3 and Q4, and it's sort of their first time going about it. They haven't had 6+ months of using the product and getting comfortable. So we're proactively reaching out to make sure that they're ready, that they feel confident. Sort of operationally, the habits that sort of show up consistently are regular internal reviews of what's working, culture where people feel they can flag those inefficiencies, and leadership that actually looks at the data. On the leadership side, sometimes the partners are they're super slammed, right? They obviously are working every day. They're not just they don't always have the luxury of being just a managing partner and not being in the business every day working with clients. And so those firms that are the most successful, in my opinion, are the ones where the partners have empowered the staff to find those inefficiencies or to come up with a better way, and to work with us in a partnership model to implement those improvements so that they can actually do what they do best, which is help their clients, save them money on their taxes or help them with their bookkeeping or whatever it might be, but to give them that time back and that efficiency so they can do what they do best. When I started in customer success, the bar was sort of pretty simple. Like, does the software work? Can I get someone on the phone or via email to help me figure it out when it doesn't? That was it. And I think, over the last couple of years, we've definitely seen a shift where customers are expecting more of an ROI focus. That responsiveness and like, hey, how do I do this is still there, but there's additional layers on top of that, right? And today, accounting firm leaders really are expecting a different level of partnership. They expect their technology vendor to understand their business. And it's not just about, you logged in 5 times or you created 25 records or whatever. It's about understanding why they purchased our product and the return, and how we would measure the return on their investment. Well, I think it's the profession itself, right? So accountants are trusted advisors. Their clients are sharing, all their financial information, all their business information, whatever it might be, right? Their clients are small business owners, individuals, families. They're coming at them with some of the most, important decisions and information of their lives. They're trying to start a business. They're navigating a difficult year. They're planning for the future. And there's a lot of heaviness. There's weight to that work. And what I get to do is to help the people doing that work spend less time on all the sort of extra stuff around that doesn't have to do with talking to their clients, right? All the overhead of running your firm and gets reduced so they can focus more on what they're actually great at. When I see a sort of a firm leader who's gone from, like the story earlier, from drowning in administrative chaos to sort of clear visibility, that's when it feels like they're actually running their firm as opposed to sort of holding on for dear life and just kind of keeping everything together. That's really genuinely meaningful to me. I've worked in education technology and advertising technology and automotive technology, and the common thread that I see across all of those is I'm most energized when that customer's success is real and it's tangible. It's not just a vanity metric. It's not just a thing you slap on a QBR 20 minutes before the call to try to get a number in there. It's actual real value that can be measured for that customer in a meaningful way.